me to unmute you later on in the call, so you can voice any questions you may have about the product as we go through. As a commercial for upcoming events, next Tuesday, we're doing a webinar on using social media to increase the business in your practice. Next Friday, the 20th, we're going to be doing a webinar on final expense, followed by the following Friday on a worksite long-term care product underwritten by LifeSecure. All of our webinars are recorded and saved up on our website for you to go back and view them. We've been recording webinars now for a good 9 months. You certainly just go to whyAIM.com, so www.whyAIM.com. Click on News and Events. You'll see the schedule of webinars on the right-hand side. You can scroll back to previous months, find a topic you want to listen to, click on that topic, and it will take you to a place where you can click on a link to view the recorded YouTube of the webinar. Hey, good morning once again. This is Dave Whalen with American Independent Marketing. Thank you all again for joining us today. The topic today is American General's personal accident policy with the ability to add a critical illness rider on the back end. We believe it has a viable place in the marketplace, and it certainly could fit well into most all of your practices and perhaps give you an opportunity to increase your revenue coming into your practice. Joining me today is Bob Clancy, the Vice President of Sales for the western part of the U.S., based out of Denver, Colorado. And Bob will kind of walk you through what he has to offer through us. And again, if you have questions during the webinar, feel free to raise your hand or use the chat feature in the right-hand toolbar. Otherwise, if you have enabled your audio controls by dialing in that audio pin showing up in the right-hand corner, I will be able to unmute you at the end of the call and field any questions from anybody out there in the audience. Again, today's session is being recorded, and it will be available to view up on our website later on this morning. So again, with that, Bob, why don't we go ahead and get started and take it away.
All right, I appreciate it, Dave. Thanks, and thanks for that overview on the cherries. Actually, I found that quite entertaining and interesting. So I'll be sharing that with my grandkids. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on if you're on the East Coast. Looking forward here to kind of give you a quick overview of the product portfolio for accident and health supplemental products that hopefully might add some additional interest for you to have communications and conversations with your clients, and hopefully generate some additional revenue at the same time providing them with some very important forms of protection. One of the things that, let me have my screen here, just went into a freeze mode. American General, has a large portfolio of products, and the accident and health portfolio is a very integral part of it. But we do have, universal life insurance. We've got term insurance. We've got all types of various marketing tools. This is a master playbook that we use. That your discussions with the team at AIM. If ever you wanted to learn more about some of the other products, they can send you something like this, and each one of these highlighted lines take you to a site that will give you more information. And on the critical illness, the accident plans that we have these playbooks that are specific for those products, and I'll show you as we go along. In last week's meeting, if you were on, I did talk about a unique beneficiary review that we have that gives you an opportunity in a very non-threatening manner to let your client know that they have any number of financial products, whether they be savings accounts, investment portfolios, notes that they probably didn't know that there was outstanding, that there's a beneficiary designation to transfer it upon death, and if that individual hasn't updated that, money can end up in the wrong hands, and so we've got a very simple process for them to do so. So let's talk about the supplemental health products and where they fit in the financial planning process. We, no matter what marketplace you're in, whether you're in the property and casualty world, whether you're in life insurance sales only, long-term care insurance, in the health market, it is pretty understandable that once an individual in a family unit succumbs to some medical issue, whether it be accident-related or if it's a diagnosis of an illness, there is a financial drain, and not only does it affect the individual, but the entire financial household is pulled into a sinkhole, and they never sometimes knew it was even coming. So adding these supplemental products to your discussion points with your consumers and your prospects, I think is critical for you to make sure that at least they understand it's available, price points aren't over the top, the process is normally pretty simple to get done, and you have some guaranteed issue components and simplified underwriting. So try to feel comfortable with this as being part of your daytime communications, and I think you'll see some great rewards, and I think your clients will be happy that you brought it up. So, you know, the insurance is the same as everything else. It's asset protection. You know, if individuals have an event happen in their lives, whether it's an accident or critical illness, they've got to come up with some money because there's expenditures that their insurance, their health insurance doesn't cover. And where's that money going to come from? And it's normally going to come from either their savings or their investment pool. So it is a living benefit, and that's the difference between certainly life insurance and that. So have an event trigger while you're alive and receive money and see where the benefit was that you were smart enough to purchase this form of protection. Our commissions on our products were not affected by the health reform issues that surfaced. It is part, again, as I said, of the financial plan world. And it's pretty easy to work with, and we have various types of ways of doing business. You can do it the old-fashioned way of filling out an application. You can do it online. You can fax it. So we will try to make it as easy as you possibly can to do business, whether your client's close or they're across the country. In today's world, you know, the medical advances have certainly extended life expectancy. So when you look at it, if you're in the long-term care world, of course, you're obviously aware of the fact that living longer, and there's a cost that comes with it. Same thing with the diagnosis of an illness or having a serious illness. People sometimes would have passed away. Now, because of medical science, they live longer. People do have accidents, and you know, we've got any types of reasons that they've been increasing, but maybe it's the fact that, you know, we're just starting to see more expense that people are incurring, and so now we're talking about those accident injuries. So the bottom line is putting stress on a family unit, on an individual when an event happens, that's not a good thing to recover from an illness or from an accident. So we want to make sure that we help them understand how it works. Here's some marketing pieces that you can use with your clients, talking about injuries, the number of people that have succumbed to bankruptcies due to either illnesses or accidents occurring. You know, they're all medically related. There's more of them than there are for other reasons. How many people will seek medical attention during the course of the year? Keep this in mind, especially on the accident component. If an individual has had an accident in recent past, or even not even recent past, if somebody in their family, they're going to be pretty aware of the fact that there's an expenditure for it, and we'll pay for their next accident if they buy this accident plan. So it isn't like there's a lingering, hanging pre-existing situation. You know, have the accident, and we're going to send you a check, and I'll talk about how that works. Critical illness, we think it's a strong component to be added to the accident sales process. I'll describe that here a little bit more, but the bottom line is people are living longer after being diagnosed with illnesses, much longer than they ever had before. So you know, again, we just talked about bankruptcies are medically related, and more people that had those bankruptcies, had 78% of them had health insurance, and that certainly doesn't bode well for, you know, the amount of money that they're paying for the health insurance, and not everything was covered. People have coronary events and survive. People have strokes and survive. People have cancer diagnosis and survive. And then we talked about the injuries. 1 in 9 Americans will seek medical attention for a injury during the year. So most everyone you're talking to has an opportunity to maybe need this protection. So the thing they need to know, though, is that when, in fact, a event happens, there is going to be expenditures that they've never thought of. And where that money comes from to offset those costs, it either comes out of their retirement. If it's a business, it could be negatively affected if one of the key partners comes down with an illness or an accident, and that will affect the continuity of the business. People that have college funding accounts for their kids, they may have to tap that. They don't want to do that, needless to say, because that would take away that education opportunity. Mortgage payments are important. That's the most expensive thing that most people have to deal with on a monthly basis. So to make sure that there is a pool of money to continue that mortgage payment, that's where this insurance portfolio will help. The other individuals in the family that have to take some time off to help that individual that has succumbed to either the illness or the accident, and they're going through the recuperation process, someone may have to stay home, and that income is going to disappear that was coming in before. And then the other situation is insurance. The current insurance portfolio that they have, that maybe those premiums would have be discontinued if the individual doesn't have enough money to be able to pay for it on a monthly basis when an event happens. So let's talk about our suite of products. And at this time, we currently have 3 different accident plans available throughout the U.S. And this is a combination of one plan replacing another, and then one that we've had in our portfolio for a fair period of time, and we've done some adjustments to it. Excuse me. Emergency Care Plus is in a majority of all the states in the country, and we've added a critical illness rider to the California product and also to the state of Nevada. We have a product called Accident Choice Plus. This is our newest version. As it is approved in various states, it is replacing Accident Expense Plus, and I'm going to describe what these 2 different designs of the products are here in a second. But if you look on the screen here and pick where you're located or where your customer base is located, you'll see which products, either Accident Choice Plus or Accident Expense Plus, are available, and you'll always have Emergency Care Plus in the majority of the states also as a secondary product. When you see the design, it may fit. So what is an accidental injury? The easiest way for me to try to describe, it's not a lingering problem, back problem, person plays golf, swing too many times, have bad back when they come home. That's just really maybe bad technique or, too many swings. But if on the course of play, you get hit with a golf club, or somebody, runs over your foot in a cart, or your tree limb falls on your head, anything of that nature, that's an event. And that's what we use as being a triggering point to start the claim process. So keep that in mind. It's not a lingering injury from before. It's an event that we are going to get treatment for that has just occurred. So Emergency Care Plus is we pay directly to the insured, and we have a schedule of benefits, and it's a payment for each service that is rendered for the accident, and I'll go through that in detail. And then Accident Expense Plus was a newer version that we came out. In lieu of having a schedule of benefits, it's just you have an event, we'll pull all of those bills together, and you'll have a cap of how much money you'll have available on an annual basis, you and the consumer, and we will draw from that particular pool for any number of accidents or just one accident during the course of that year and send the client a check. And Accident Choice Plus has got the same design as that. So first thing I'll do, I'm just going to bring up that we found that the critical illness component of our accident plan actually is a great door opener because it's something that people are so cognizant of. And if you're not familiar with the best way to be able to break the ice, if you will, on the critical illness concept, it's asking someone, who do you know? Who in your immediate family, circle, a friend, or business associate has ever been diagnosed with a cancer situation, stroke, or heart attack and survived? And everybody knows about it. And then in the next comment you say if they received a check ranging anywhere from $5,000 to $500,000, would have made a difference in their life. And as I travel around the country and I bring this up to the consumers, sometimes people in airports or other places, the first thing out of their mouths is, how come I haven't heard about this? And I kind of have to honestly admit that it's my job to make sure that more advisors and insurance reps are aware of this, and you'll be hearing about it. Just so you understand the reality and the probability of occurrence of a critical illness claim, This chart here, it's a little busy. You can get a copy of this from the folks over at AIM. If you look at the 40-year-old, what we did was we took all of our products, our critical illness, our life insurance, our disability portfolio, and what we said was, what is the chance of an individual being diagnosed or having a loss of income or dying prior to age 65? And our actuaries went through a breakdown, and they showed that a 40-year-old male has a 28% chance of being diagnosed with a critical illness prior to age 65, a 19% chance that they'd have a disability that would last for at least 6 months, or a 5% chance of them dying. Now, when you're looking at this, you figured out that there's a 3 to 4 to 1 probability that someone's going to have an illness before they would die. And you have to keep this in mind. We all know somebody who was passed away from, whether they had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke diagnosis, but they may not have passed away until 15 years later. If they had the critical illness product, you would have given them a check at the time of diagnosis. And I think that will resonate with individuals. And honestly, if they had that additional money, sometimes they might have some things they could do that might have even extended their life. So let's talk about Emergency Care Plus. This is the one that's most available around the U.S. It's the easiest price point to work with. We issue from 18 through 64. Family coverage is available. The application questions are really the primary form of underwriting for this. It's renewable to age 75, which is also very important to know. So there's no APSs, no parameds or exams. In California and Nevada, as I mentioned, we have a critical illness rider attachment. And then also in Florida, we've had some enhancement to the benefit package there. The state had some reasons to bring it up. So it's a little different design in Florida if you're working that marketplace. So you want to make sure you, if you're asking for some information, you let us know if it's in Florida or California or Nevada. So we've designed it really to kind of maximize on the packaging. So I'm going to go through what the schedule of benefits is here on the next slide, but I want you to know that as a general rule, what we encourage is that when you take a standard plan, which is 1 unit of base coverage, or the select plan, which is 2 units, or the premium plan, which has 3 units, you should add 5 units of the hospital cash benefit rider to each one of those. And I'm going to show you how that works. But here's a price point to give you an idea of how it works. If you look at an individual who has 1 unit of the Emergency Care Plus schedule of benefits and 5 units of cash, hospital cash benefit, the premium is $74 a year. If it's a family unit, it's $366 a year. So when you look at it here, here's the schedule of benefits. So 1 unit would offer, first of all, a $25,000 accidental death and dismemberment rider, death, and then the dismemberment rider is $15,000 for every unit that they have, and for the expense for that event, that accident, we'll pay them $50. So 4 units or 3 units would be $150. There'll be follow-up treatments. There's also for burns, there's a payment that we'll make for ambulance transportation, dislocations, lodging, fractures. You just look through the schedule of benefits, and this is what you would take as a single unit, and then more the units that you sell, you will just increase the dollar figure that the client would receive after we've had a chance to review what their claim was. In addition to that, the Emergency Care Plus also has a accident-only disability income benefit rider. When we forget that when individuals have an event like this, sometimes their income stream stops, and they may not have disability insurance, or the waiting period might be too long. So getting some cash up front might offset that loss of income while they're going through the recovery. The cash benefit rider I'll describe here just a little bit more on the next page, and I talked about the accidental death and dismemberment. So the DI rider, they can get up to 10 units, and that would be at $100 per unit, and again, it's an accident claim driven. The cash rider it's a combination of some benefits paid out, but it'll equate to about $200 per unit of money that's paid. There are some additional benefits that are paid for being in intensive care and the overnight stay. In addition to that, there's the accidental death and dismemberment, which I just broke down. In California and Nevada, we have a critical illness rider that will pay from $5,000 to $25,000 if an individual is diagnosed with invasive cancer, heart attack, or stroke. The three, heart attack, cancer, and stroke, represent about 65% of all the claims for critical illness, so we thought we covered the big three, so to speak, and made it a very simple process to qualify for it. We just ask a few questions, and the individual can get that coverage. So the insured must have the rider, though, before either the spouse or the family can have it, and it terminates once there is a lump sum payment. In California, there's a very unique feature that for females that have a mammogram, between the ages of 35 and 39, they can have one mammogram done, and we will reimburse them $200. Between 40 and 49, they can have a mammogram done every 3 years, and we will send them $200 for that mammogram. And over 50, we'll do it for every year. So when you start thinking about what the rider costs are, and if an individual is having mammograms, this pool of money that they would get just for that normal expense of having their mammogram, we're going to reimburse them up to $200 for it. So here's the Accident Expense Plus product now, which is different from the Schedule of Benefits Emergency Care. Now this is the pool of money. This is what the playbook that you can get from the individuals at AIM. In the bottom there you can see there is a YouTube presentation. You can get information on it. It's a link to our forms depot so you can get applications and marketing material. There's a rapid rater so you can do a quick calculation of rates so you'll know exactly what the rates are going to be. And then there's various types of marketing pieces for you and the client, and also some education pieces for yourself so you understand how the electronic signature process works and some other things. So what we did on the we took away the Schedule of Benefits, and we said, all right, on Accident Expense Plus, which is in a number of states still across the U.S., you purchase anywhere from $1,000 to $15,000 pool of money. Every individual in the family unit has their own pool of money. And $15,000 is what most people sell because the price point doesn't make any difference between $10,000 and $15,000 to speak of. We don't coordinate with their health insurance, so we will pay above and beyond what their health insurance pays. We do have a deductible that is really nothing more than just to adjust the premiums for the accident plan for them. So if an individual takes a $500 deductible plan as compared to the zero deductible plan is going to have a higher premium than the $500. If a person has a $10,000 claim during the course of a year, just one claim, exactly $10,000, and they have a $500 deductible plan, we would send them a check for $9,500. So that's how the deductible would work. We have the critical illness rider. That's the same for emergency care in California and Nevada from $5,000 to $25,000. Issue ages are from 0 to 64, and it's guaranteed renewable to age 65, whereas on the emergency care, it's renewable to age 75. So we cover all the expenses that an individual will incur. We pool it together. Again, it's a calendar year deductible. The individual must, though, see a physician within 72 hours of the event happening. And then for Accident Expense Plus, we ask that they get their treatment done in a 30-day window. So that's that's for emergency care, urgent care centers, surgery, x-rays, you name it. There are always some extenuating circumstances, but 30 days is when we're on the Accident Expense Plus, we'd like for them to have their coverage done. Excuse me, their treatment done. So there's no occupational exclusions. It's 24-hour coverage. Don't care if they have workman's comp, DI, anything else. We'll still pay for it. In addition, we do have the opportunity for you to offer this in a work site environment, so to speak. You can list bill from a minimum of 5 lives to over 500 lives. So if you have a common billing opportunity, this would be a great opportunity to sell this product on a multiple life sale. So on the critical illness, again, invasive cancer, heart attack, and stroke, They're in $5,000 increments, so that's from $5,000 to $25,000. There's no correlation between the critical illness and the accident. Someone could purchase $1,000 of the accident plan and $25,000 of the critical illness. There are some times where that makes some sense for people to do it, especially in some of the questions on the application. Or it could be the reverse. Someone could buy $15,000 and only of accident and only $5,000 of the critical illness. So it's guaranteed issue on the accident component. There's really only 3 basic questions for the critical illness rider, and it's going to be accept or reject. Children are eligible for the critical illness rider. Again, it's not tied to the base policy, and there's tobacco and non-tobacco rates for the critical illness rider, but not for the accident plan. Accident Choice Plus is our second version of this pooled money concept, and the reason we came out with that is that people were asking us to add more riders to the sale so that the package sale would work, and I'll share that with you here for a second. So this particular product for the states that you're doing business in, that Accident Choice Plus has been approved, that would replace Accident Expense Plus in those particular states. Same thing, YouTube opportunities. You can run the Rapid Rater and all the all the information available. So you get a copy of this from the folks at AIM, and you'll have everything at your fingertips on your computer. What we did here is, though, we increased the accident component. We went up to $25,000, whereas it was $15,000 on Accident Expense Plus. It is the coverage now. The only change we made is that an individual and the spouse, they both have their own pool of money, but the children now, they share that entire pool that was purchased as for the children's rider. And then we changed the deductibles a bit because not too many people were taking the zero deductible, so we just went to $100, $300, and $500 deductibles. Again, if a claim occurs and they have one of these deductibles, we just pull the money away from the pool that we're sending to them. Again, children are covered now through age 25. They coincide with all the rules and health reform, and the same issue age and guaranteed renewable to age 65. And we did one change. We expanded the treatment period to 45 days. I still have to see a physician within 72 hours, but on Accident Choice Plus, they only have to, they can have their medical treatment done within a 45-day period. So we have the critical illness rider, and we've increased that up to $50,000, and these are done in $5,000 increments. There's also an accidental death and dismemberment rider, so it's a combination of death and dismemberment, and it's $50,000 for the individual and $25,000 per unit for spouse and $12.5 for the kids. Then there's also an accidental disability plan that'll cover those individuals that are working at least 30 hours a week. This is a sample of why we included these riders all collectively together, and it's kind of a sad story, but the point is it does happen. So you've got a 38-year-old individual married with 3 children, had purchased a very high deductible plan. As you can see here is a $25,000 deductible plan. May not be seeing as much of those, but it has happened in the past, and had a pretty substantial medical bills due to a accident combination critical illness. So there was a car accident, and during the car accident, the spouse had a heart attack, and this does happen. Most people don't realize that in car events, heart attacks are very, very, very commonplace, that it does happen. John was hurt so bad that he was out of work for 6 months. The daughter regrettably lost a foot due to injuries. With all the expenditures from that particular treatment of just the accident side alone, comes out to $24,000. But because he had a $25,000 Accident Choice Plus policy, his real out-of-pocket for all of that was only $1,000. He received disability income of $2,000 a month for 6 months. The AD&D component paid $20,000 plus for the daughter who lost her foot, and then the rider for $50,000 for critical illness was paid to the spouse. So the amount of money, when you look at this, almost equates to close to $80,000 that family received due to this accident. And of course, it's a sad, event here, and I've always laughed at this piece, but it's something that came out of our corporate headquarters. But the reality is, things like this happen, and it's a good way to point out to your client that that $80,000 is a sum of money that would help their family unit overcome all the issues from this. So going back to critical illness insurance, the best form of taking away the financial stress from having a critical illness is a dose of cash, and that's where the critical illness concept comes in. The accident plan, whether it be emergency care that has a schedule of benefits, it's a great plan, it's got a great price point, or if it is the either two pooled accounts, Accident Expense Plus or Accident Choice Plus, I think you need to bring this up with your clients. Just a quick overview, what happens sometimes when the critical illness rider sale, you become surprised and the client becomes enamored with the concept. Their question is, can we get more than just $25,000 or $50,000 of critical illness? And the answer is yes. We can issue up to $100,000 on our standalone critical illness policy for the individual without taking a medical. And it has number of triggering points, more so than it does on the rider. It has a built-in return of premium. It has we have some 10, 15-year protection periods, and it also has a loss of independent living triggering point built into it. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but the bottom line is if the client says, I'd like to have more coverage, or do you cover more illnesses, this is the way that you would do it. And again, as I said, up to $100,000, they don't have to take a medical, and then over $100,000, they just have to take a paramedical, and we've got some unique riders that are included in it. And then where do these products fit? And so I'll kind of leave it here, and then we'll open up the questions, and I haven't looked at the time here. Hopefully I'm not over my limit. Where does it fit? Well, for the critical illness side, the physicians are really important as far as candidates because they understand that everyday healthy people become unhealthy people. And they also have high income issues, certain physicians, and they need to have a gap for their disability coverage. People that have single incomes, one income families where one person's out generating the revenue and the other person's home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, doing the hard job, taking care of the family unit. Well, if that person that's at home comes down with an illness, what happens? That means the person working has to come up with money, or that person at home has an accident. So we will issue critical illness on non-earning individuals. They don't have to have any form of income. The accident plan is guaranteed issue. You can get into the business planning world. You can bring this up. It's a gap coverage. Most people never think about how a business or the key person in a business would be so negatively affected and the impact on that organization. So having a pool of money come in, as I said earlier, paying your mortgage. You want to make sure they don't take money out of their investment portfolio. It's a great DI overlay when we have the loss of independent living triggering point on our standalone contract for critical illness. Now you could kind of combo it into a long-term care sale because it would be a pre-65 sale as compared to a post-65 sale. And then one of the things, if you look at the very bottom, a pool of money from a terrible event like that poor family can give a family, because they have full use of this any way they see fit. They don't have to send the money to the hospitals. They don't have to pay their medical bills if they don't want to from that money. But, when a family has to go through or an individual goes through a serious event, maybe taking a break is important. And they could use this money to take a travel and kind of get the family unit, back into play and, spend some time. But also if someone needs to have some additional travel expenses, the money is available for it. So bringing up critical illness, accident plans in the financial planning process, I think, is one of the most important things you can do to help your clients be prepared for that unplanned event. And we'll kind of open it up for questions, and that's about it. Dave?
Thanks, Bob. I'm right now in the process of unmuting everybody that's on the webinar today. If you happen to have me on a speakerphone, either on a landline or on your iPhone, if you could please take me off, or please mute your phone so we can minimize the feedback we may receive. But
Question.
fire away.
Yes. on the 30-day and 45-day limit, what about car accident injuries that take substantially longer than that a lot of times?
Yeah, that gets into the gray area, and our claims people are very good at that. And let's say an individual that the doctor, the person visited with the doctor within that 72-hour period, and then there is an event that happens, and there's some treatment that can't be done for specific reasons, swelling.
Can we sell this over the phone?
Oh gosh, sure, yes.
And physicians, would they use chiropractors?
We do allow chiropractors in the process, as long as they have to be, certainly certified. Don't get me wrong. We've had some situations where someone throws out a name and it's really not a chiropractor. Sure. It's one of those people, and I can't remember if there's a term for it. But
and
yeah,
the last one, can we get a copy of the slides?
Yeah, you can. It's not consumer friendly though. It can't be used.
That's the usual thing.
Yeah. Now we do have though on the those playbooks that I mentioned. We've got the three, for the three different products. There is a built-in presentation that's there also that you may want to take a look at. But I'll leave it up to Dave to share with you the presentation.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Product available in New York?
The accident expense plus it just doesn't have the critical illness rider. The state of New York didn't approve the rider.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions out there? Again, if you think you missed something along the way, we have recorded this. It will be up on our website here later on today. Bob did refer to their critical illness offerings as well. Bob was gracious enough to do a webinar with me a week ago, and that is recorded and up on our website, as are all of our webinars. So again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for joining me today. Keep an eye on our schedule. We try to vary the topics on a bi-weekly basis for you. So if there are no additional questions, I'll bid everybody adieu and have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
So long, everybody. Thanks for your attendance. Bye-bye.
Bye.